The second season of Sweet Home begins by showing us a military experiment and introducing Dr. Lim, an infected specialist who believes that humanity is a virus and monsters are the vaccine to save the world. The military is informed that the vehicle carrying the special infected has been hijacked, and they move to recover it. At this moment, we see that the hijacker is Sang-wook, and the special infected is Hyun-soo. However, upon waking up, Hyun-soo immediately recognizes the man in front of him as Woo Im-young. It is revealed that after being defeated by Hyun-soo in the previous season, Woo Im-young took over Sang-wook's body to survive. Furious over the loss of his friend, Hyun-soo attacks him, and a fight ensues as they are pursued by the military. Now we see that the other survivors from the previous season are being taken, apparently to a safe location along with several refugees. However, they soon realize the emotional instability of the military, who shoot a man they thought was infected, only to discover too late that they were wrong, leading to confusion between some refugees and the military. It is at this moment that a monster appears. The soldiers start shooting at it, but end up killing several civilians who were desperately trying to flee the area. In the midst of the chaos, the monster notices a little girl crying and calling for her mother. Despite taking multiple shots, the monster manages to protect her and safely deliver her to her mother. However, the soldiers do not hesitate to continue attacking it. Now we meet another team of military led by Sergeant Tak, who capture a baby that the monster was hiding, and using it as a hostage, force the monster to surrender and be cruelly killed by the military. However, the sergeant lets the baby monster escape, and when questioned by one of the soldiers, he explains that their fight is only against monsters that threaten human lives. Woo Im-young and Hyun-soo manage to escape and are in a shopping mall. While Woo Im-young tries to convince Hyun-soo to join him and find other specials like them, they hear a woman scream for help and see her being pursued by a monster. Woo Im-young saves the woman and promises Hyun-soo that from now on, he will not kill innocent people. But Hyun-soo needs to help him rescue the specials who are being tortured by the military. Hyun-soo agrees, and they both head to the laboratory. However, while on the way, memories of Sang-wook emerge in Woo Im-young's mind, and he starts having visions of Yoo-ri on the road. Because of this, they have a car accident, resulting in a wounded soldier. The soldier is in intense pain and begs Hyun-soo to end his suffering. Hyun-soo fulfills the request but is deeply disturbed afterward. Woo Im-young also survives the accident, but realizes that Sang-wook's body is now too weak, and he can no longer heal or use his monster powers. Seeing him crawling and frightened, Hyun-soo says that he is nothing more than a parasite, and that he won't let him escape this time. As he drags him toward the military, they are shot at, and both end up unconscious. Meanwhile, we see that Yi Kyung manages to infiltrate among the military, and with the help of Dr. Lim, she reaches the laboratory where she finds her husband's body completely dissected. Suddenly, she starts experiencing severe pain in her abdomen as she was pregnant, and her baby is turning into a monster inside her. Witnessing all of this is Woo Im-young, who had managed to kill the doctors examining him, absorbed all the monster energy from Yi Kyung's husband, thus regaining his powers. Yoon-yu and Jisoo, along with some other survivors, manage to reach the stadium, where supposedly a safe shelter awaits them. At this moment, we see that Dr. Lim is in a meeting with the leaders of the Korean government, demanding that he hand over the vaccines he created. However, the doctor refuses to reveal where he hid them. After shooting his hand, they disclose their plan to end the monster spread on the planet. They intend to use the vaccines only on the most important people in Korea, eliminating the rest of the population to prevent them from transforming. Soon, we witness this plan in action, as missiles are launched against the refugees who were gathering in the stadium, resulting in the death of most people present, including the soldiers serving the government. Somehow, Eun-yu manages to survive this, but unfortunately, Jisoo doesn't seem to have the same luck. Eun-yu finds her trapped in the rubble while protecting a boy and sees that the platform above her is about to collapse. The screen goes dark, and we only hear the noise of the platform collapsing on Jisoo. Meanwhile, Woo Im-young finds Hyun-soo trapped in a room and discovers that he was collaborating with Dr. Lim, believing that he would create a vaccine to cure the monsters. After some taunting, Hyun-soo breaks the protective glass and attacks Woo Im-young. They fight using their monster powers, but Hyun-soo still doesn't have full control over his power and ends up being defeated. Additionally, Woo Im-young petrifies him, wishing that he spends eternity alone, knowing that no one will come to help him and unable to die. Yi Kyung manages to get out of there, but she's very weak and the pains persist. She lies on the frozen water and prepares to go into labor. At that moment, the ice floor breaks, and underwater, we see that the baby is born and, using the umbilical cord, pulls his mother out of the water. Back at the meeting, seeing that Dr. Lim was unwilling to cooperate, they decide to eliminate him. However, at this moment, led by Sergeant Tak, who had discovered the entire truth, the military invades the location, killing all those involved and saving the doctor. A year passes, and now the survivors are living underground in the stadium under the leadership of two coexisting figures. One is Sergeant Tak with the military, responsible for security, and the other is Chief Ji, who leads and is adored by the survivors. One day, while on a supply mission, Yunyu is attacked by Chief Ji's husband, who is turning into a monster. However, she is saved by another monster just before fainting. When she wakes up, she believes it was her brother who saved her, and to protect him from the military, decides to hide the truth from the others. This leads to suspicions that Unyu was responsible for Chief Ji's husband's death, and she is consequently isolated from the rest of the group. Due to these events, the military prohibits the survivors from participating in supply searches. However, Yunyu starts going out alone in search of her brother. One day, as Yunyu prepared for another search, Chief Ji sent some survivors to follow her. Junil also joins, hoping to find medicine for his mother. He separates from the others and comes across a botanical garden, where he sees a mysterious girl sleeping. He approaches and unintentionally startles her, leaving him paralyzed. The other two decide they must kill Yunyu to get closer to Chief Ji. While pursuing her, the mysterious girl appears and, by touching them, transforms them. Yunyu is surrounded by several monsters and is once again saved just before being killed, reinforcing her belief that it is her brother protecting her. However, at this moment, the mysterious girl appears with a red scarf around her arm, the same scarf that was placed on Unyu's wrist the first time she was saved. Junil is found by the expedition team and taken to Dr. Lim, who, upon examining Junil's scar, believes it could be a new step in the evolution of the monsters. One of the military members, Corporal Park Cha-young, seems to have feelings for Yunyu and, concerned for her, starts following her against her will. Yunyu encounters the mysterious girl again, who tries to touch her. Cha-young interrupts, realizing that the girl is not alone. Yunyu immediately recognizes the woman pointing a gun at them. It's Yikyong, who also has a red scarf on her arm, instructing them to stay away from the girl. Yikyong flees with the girl, and Yunyu follows, with Cha-young trailing behind. However, both fall into a trap hole. Dr. Lim decides to take Junil to his infected mother, curious to see the reaction it would cause. This proves to be a terrible idea, as Junil attacks his mother to death and then explodes. Lim rushes to inform Tak, who decides to conceal this incident to avoid further frightening the survivors. Unyu and Cha-young are rescued from the trap by Hosang and Hani. The girl is fascinated by Cha-young's beauty, and Unyu asks Hani to take him away, hoping he would stop following her. However, Hosang decides to detain both of them until the next day, as he doesn't trust them. Cha-young seems upset by what Unyu said earlier, but she appears indifferent to his feelings. We learn that the mysterious girl is Yikyong's daughter, and they have a strained relationship as Yikyong tends to keep her locked up. The girl sets her cell on fire to escape, and a baby monster tries to help her. However, Yikyong attempts to kill it. The girl becomes angry as her mother refuses to understand that the monsters are her friends and jumps into the water, with Yikyong following to rescue her. Hani helps Yunyu escape to have some private time with Cha-young. When he wakes up, she offers him soup made with hallucinogenic mushrooms, causing him to faint. Tak begins transforming into a monster, and Lim reveals that he can turn him into a special infected who can control his monstrosity but needs to fetch something for it. Yunyu encounters Yikyong's daughter again, but this time the girl is angry, declaring that all humans are evil and pushing her into a deep hole. Yunyu is saved again, but this time she recognizes her savior. In a flashback, we return to the day Yikyong first saw her daughter, revealing that she struggled to accept her daughter being a monster. Hyunsu appears and takes the girl with him. Sometime later, Yikyong regrets her decision and returns to them. They lived happily for a while until the day Hyunsu was absent, and the girl was attacked by some men. She grew into a teenager and awakened her powers, turning the men into monsters she could control. Their relationship worsened as Yikyong couldn't hide her fear and even thoughts of killing her daughter, prompting Hyunsu to intervene. Back in the present, Yunyu realizes that all this time, it was Hyunsu who was protecting her, not her brother. She tries to approach him, but he treats her coldly and keeps her at a distance with his wing. Yikyong returns to the burning boat and faints. The baby monster tries to help her, but also faints. Hyunsoo arrives in time and manages to get them out of there. Yunyu and Hosang return to Hani and Cha-young, finding them affected by the mushroom's effects. Back at the base, one of the soldiers did not return from a mission, and the military prepares to search for him. Sergeant Tak orders Dr. Lim to go with them, as he has something to retrieve in the same location. There, Dr. Lim is fascinated by a glowing monster cocoon he finds, while the soldiers search for their missing comrade. Hyunsoo takes Yikyong to where Yunyu and the others are for help. Yunyu rushes to hug him, but at that moment, Hosang shoots Hyunsoo, fearing he might be a monster. After some threats between the groups, Hani manages to convince him to leave them alone and go away. Chief Ji appears to hold a dark secret and lures one of the survivors into a secret tunnel, pushing him down a staircase, leaving him trapped there. Hyunsoo and the others manage to reach an abandoned hospital, but they realize it's too late for Yikyong. Hyunsoo convinces Yikyong's daughter to say goodbye. However, the girl doesn't seem affected and spends little time in her mother's room. Upon leaving, she tells Hyunsoo not to worry because her mother won't die. At that moment, Yikyong transforms into a monster, as the girl had touched her. Driven by the desire to kill all monsters, including her daughter, she attacks Hyunsoo, who looks closely and senses her thoughts. A two-faced monster, one side wanting to kill all monsters, including her daughter, and the other side loving and wanting to protect her. Hyunsoo, feeling all the suffering she is going through, is forced to kill her, leaving him mentally shattered. With the help of a girl, the military finds their comrade who was trapped and kept in quarantine. Kim asks the girl to take him to their leader, but upon arrival, the girl transforms and knocks him down. It is revealed that everyone there is an experiment aiming to turn them into special monsters. Dr. Lim meets Wei Myung, who reveals he was one of his experiments in the past. Yunyu tells Cha-young that she will now stay with Hyunsoo and asks him to leave and not come back, wanting him and everyone in the stadium to forget about her. After the farewell, she goes to Hyunsoo, but he seems different, calm, confident, and without guilt. He reveals himself to be the dark side of Hyunsoo that had to take control because Hyunsoo was on the verge of succumbing. Meanwhile, back at the building from the first season, a massive monster cocoon has broken open, and what emerged appears to be so powerful that it scares even the other monsters. In the final scene, it is revealed to be Unyu's brother, Yoonhyuk,